Do male gamers even like women? I mean, any sane person in the gaming space could tell you that these guys specifically absolutely detest women, but do they need to remind us how crusty they are so loudly?
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
God of War Laufey proves we are no longer the audience.
Girl of War? God of War for a modern audience looks like complete woke garbage.
Shift Up didn't get affected by any woke bullshit. That's a massive win for the gaming community. Shift Up never become cowards like Insomniac, Sucker Punch, and Santa Monica, who uglify women in games.
Now you might think calling these people gay is a funny gotcha, but one, let's not bring back casual homophobia, and two, straight men are entirely, demonstrably capable of hating women and lusting after them anyway. So the guys hissing and spitting over the idea of playing as the woman who was able to make Kratos calm down and be a good boy are not secretly into men. Kratos is a power fantasy, and by Kratos I do mean the man from the original trilogy of games where he's smashing and slashing his way through everything and everyone, including half-naked, chained-up women he forces to hold a gate wheel for him, even if it causes her to get horrifically crushed in the process while she's screaming in terror. You know, the version of him that current Kratos despises because he had character development and matured as a person and wants to be a better example for his son. No, that's unrelatable. Some DEI hire wrote that soft emotional shit, obviously. The only real Kratos is the perpetual rage machine because these stunted dweebs cannot fathom the idea of self-reflection and working on your emotional problems. They're incapable of that until they start raising some shrimp, because if that can work on a 4chaner, maybe it can work on them. Maybe. Point is, the reaction from some very loud, unwashed corners of the community has been very normal, from complaining that Deborah Ann Wall isn't attractive enough and claiming that they did something to her face to make her ugly, even though it is clearly a one-to-one face scan and these losers have simply never spent enough time around a woman to see her without makeup, to the creator of God of War popping his head out of the sand to renounce the game because there's no violence, Greek mythology, or Kratos. Even though Faye is Kratos' wife, he's still important to the plot. There's absolutely some very good, brutal-looking violence in the game, and since we're in the afterlife of the gods, I'd be shocked if some of the Greek pantheon, Kratos bodied as his worst self, didn't show up. Like, as I said, the last time Mr. David Jaffe worked on a God of War game was like 2 decades ago. He wasn't even involved in God of War 3, the last of the original trilogy games these absolute walnuts hold in such high regard. He doesn't go here anymore.
Never let women into your hobby.
Like I said, they just hate women. Some of them hate women so much that their wife files a restraining order against them. As you can imagine, the thumbnails have been an unhinged slew of weird AI generation, exaggerated expressions, and yassification filters because a grown woman who just died needs to look runway ready. This one, however... God of Cuck. Wait, first, when the fuck did cuckoldry enter the equation? Second, why did you make her look like Greta Thunberg here? You people are so deeply weird. Please seek therapy.
God of War Laundry.
Ah yes, they rubbed their collective 2 brain cells together just enough to come up with God of War Laundry, presumably trying to manifest a time when they weren't buried up to the neck in stiff socks and skid-marked underwear. While we're talking about women, what else were the capital G gamers being normal about? Yes, that. I'm just gonna head this one off at the pass and point out that the director of Stellar Blade, Blood Rain, said they intentionally designed her to look, quote-unquote, a bit younger. And even the Roach Rancher himself seemed a bit weirded out by how young she looked, so... I don't know, man, I just find the baby face in combination with the vacuum-sealed, jiggle physics-enabled ass a little... questionable, considering this is also in the context of so many of you finding obviously grown adult women viscerally unattractive. Like, I'm reminded that certain dudes thought Scarlett goddamn Johansson was unattractive in Black Widow, when to me she was at her most attractive with the bare face and leather jacket. And to be clear, I like feminine women. I, personally, prefer feminine women. At the same time, I don't think women not being attractive to me is some kind of nefarious plot to deprive me of smackback material. I'm a freak, but I'm not a weirdo. Important distinctions. And before anyone makes the erroneous assumption that I'm just a man trying to get laid, I'm a lesbian, you fucking weasel.
If you've been in this space long enough, you'll learn to watch out for certain language used to promote games. This is DEI language, clear and cut. Woke ideological activists look at entertainment as merely vehicles for their politics. Gamers will talk about mechanics and cool aesthetics, whereas woke acolytes will rave about how the game promotes their value system. Temper your expectations for this game. Wait and see how it plays out before you spend your money.
All this over Alex Wilton Reagan saying that the new Lara Croft is for everyone, the girls, the guys, and the gays. She's just being cute, and yet this is causing a meltdown. Like, whatever happened to devs being allowed to make the game they want to make, and censorship bad, and go make your own game, insert slur here? I thought these guys wanted dev studios to create freely, the way the studio wants to do it, because they care so much about anti-censorship and freedom of expression. You know, until it's something they don't personally like, or they're told they don't like it by the gaggle of talking heads, constantly polluting the air with divisive inflammatory rhetoric that looks increasingly indistinguishable from just straight-up bigotry. Like, what exactly is supposed to be the takeaway from the sentiment? It seems pretty straightforward to me that these people just hate women. Yes, even other women, like Vara Dark, because there's no shortage of people with very eatable faces who vote for the leopards eating people's faces party. People who would otherwise be crucified by the anti-woke ghouls for just existing, or worse, going through the effort of making a game they want to see themselves in, will instead paint themselves as one of the good ones. This gives the ghouls legitimacy. Look, I'm not being misogynistic, this woman agrees with me, and makes it infinitely more annoying to tackle the rampant hatred of women in the gaming space. And I'm focusing on women specifically because that's what I'm most familiar with. I can't speak on racism beyond saying it's absolutely a problem. And God forbid a game has any hint of queer content, which I'm also familiar with, but I'm not getting into. Because, like, I don't know, man. The reaction to Laufey just felt especially acidic. Like, I knew they hated women. If a female gamer uses voice chat, it's either rape threats, sexual harassment, screaming at her to shut up, lamenting that the game is lost because there's a female, or it's the tired old get back in the kitchen because these troglodytes have never evolved. They're not gay. They hate women. And I need you to sit with that instead of trying to deflect, trying to make it anything else but that. These men hate women.